Tamara Basic Tease here. Have you ever noticed that slight pucker in the back of somebody's booty shorts or in between the bust line? Well, that's called ruching, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So let's take a look. How are you liking my rad 80s fabric? It's pretty bright. So this is the back side of a pair of booty shorts. You could also do this in the bust line of a tube dress or a bandeau or tube top. So you're going to fold the right sides together like this, and then you're going to mark with a pen at the top and bottom of where you want the ruching to be. So I'm going to grab a pen and I am going to pen it right here. I want it about a ½ inch down from the bottom, but you can make it any way you want. That's usually what I do, is about a ½ inch. And then you're going to take another pen and you're going to pen it over at the top of it where you want it to start. So with this one on the top, there would either be, I'm going to hem it a ½ inch. So I'm going to start it at about a ½ inch. So when I fold this hem mark over, then it's going to seal in the elastic. Some of the other things I do, I would have a ½ inch piece of elastic I would sew in after I put the ruching piece in. So I would start the ruching about a ½ inch instead of a ½ inch. But for what I'm doing right now, it's just going to be a ½ inch. So there's your marks. So you can either use a ½ inch elastic. This is some nude swimmer elastic that I have that's a ½ inch. I don't usually use a ½ inch, but I have seen other garments made with a ½ inch. So you can do it, and I'll show you how to do that. And you can also use 1/8 inch elastic. And that's what I like to use, is the 1/8 inch elastic. And it comes in black, and it also comes in white. And those are the only two colors. So what you're gonna do is you're going to lift up your pressure foot. And remember, we talked about a ½ inch seam allowance. You might sew elastic in there instead. So you would need a quarter of the way down. So I am going to put this right by my pin mark where that fold was. See, there's nothing in there. You can't see anything inside there. There's no pin. And you put it right by there. And because I'm going to hem it, I'm not really going to seal the stitch. I'm just going to go forward as far as that hem would be to cover it up. And then I usually follow my finger down halfway between the pin marks. I'm trying to show you. Let's see. So halfway in between the pin marks. So the pin mark's here, and then you've got another one way over here. So this is halfway. So I'm going to grab halfway where the elastic is, and I'm going to pull that halfway mark all the way back down to the other pin mark. Let me see if I can show that to you easier. I'm so close. It's hard to see. So right there, halfway to that pin mark. And then you're going to just stretch it, and you're just going to sew it down with a straight stitch. You don't need anything but a home machine and a straight stitch. So when you get down to where you want to end, just seal it back and forth. I've been making skirts a lot for a girl that only wanted hers halfway down the back. So it just depends on where you want the ruching to be. So I sealed that stitch, take the pins out. I'm going to hem this right here. So that's going to seal that stitch right there. And then just cut the elastic off at the very end. It's already sealed, and the thread, and then I'll turn it around just a second. And there is your pucker or ruching on the back. So I'm just going to show you with the ½ inch elastic. This is just a piece of fabric. It's not a garment. You do it the same way. Let's say you were going to hem it over a ½ inch. So you would put the needle down. Just go about a ½ inch. The sewing machine is so fast because it's industrial. Sometimes it just is way too fast. So let's say I was going to pull this all the way down to here. So I would go halfway through and then pull it to that halfway mark, and then I would sew it through. And I've sealed it already up at the top, or I will have when I hem it under. See how that hem goes? So I'm gonna cut that off and cut the other side off. And then if you look at it, there's that pucker in the back. So you can use 1/4 of an inch elastic. I use an 1/8. So here is another pair of shorts that I made, and the seam is actually in the back. So this one's a little bit more difficult, and I used to never do it this way, but I saw some other manufacturers did it this way, so I went ahead and tried it, and I do it sometimes. So the same holds true. I am going to hem about 1/2 inch around. So I'm going to start this 1/2 inch from the top. I didn't put a pin in it this time because I know where the center is. The center is where the seam is. So I'm going to sew it about 1/2 inch because you're going to hold, it's going to fold under and hem under there anyway. Make sure the needle's down. I didn't say that earlier. Make sure the needle's down because it's holding the garment in place. And then you're going to figure out halfway. So 1/2 inch from the bottom is right here. So about halfway is like right here. So I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to attach it to the other side and pull. So this one's a little bit more difficult. I use, I guess, 2 fingers and push it over to the right. A lot of this would depend on whether you're right or left-handed. And then go ahead and sew. I miss the 1/8 inch elastic on this one sometimes because this machine goes so fast. So since there was a curve in this pattern piece, you got to make sure you keep on pushing. You got to make sure you keep on pushing this over so that 1/8 inch elastic is really tight up next to that serger stitch. You can see I'm missing it every once in a while. And then I'll just go back over it if I have missed it. So you just pull the thread out, cut the thread off, and then the end of the elastic. And then if you open it up, there's that pucker. But see, you can see the stitch right to the left of that seam. You know, it's no big deal that you can see it. I see a lot of manufacturers do it that way. So that's how you put ruching on your garments. You could also use this technique on a side band if you had a seam on the side of your shorts. So if somebody's already made the shorts, then I would add, like it already was hemmed, I would add that elastic. I had a girl asking me about it the other day. So you hem it up where that hem is. You would probably add it like halfway in between where the hem is. It would be about right here, I guess. So you couldn't see it. I hope you learned something today. If you want to check me out, look at basictees.com where I sell my sexy PDF sewing patterns.